Dave here with No Shame Nova. What's up, guys? All right, well, it's time to go ahead and break down this 5.3 LS block. Let's get the rebuild going and see if we can get this thing done in less than 24 hours. Pops did it back in the day. Now it's my turn to keep the legacy going. I'm a DIY guy who does it all. Thank you for watching No Shame Nova. Let's get it.
Wow.
All right, so it's Friday. Man, it's been a crazy week after all the drama going down. Look, the real deal is this. I found an iron block. Well, I didn't find it. I found it in my garage, technically. It was an old block that I hadn't used in a while. So I'm thinking, well, I want to put this thing together. That way I can save some money. Don't have to chase around another one. So immediately I look at it, realize, okay, I need new cam bearings. Don't want to play around. So I get on the phone with my guys over at United Speed World. Junior, Tommy, we'll look at it, see if we can get you in and out. These boys don't play around. I was in and out in 20 minutes. Cam bearings, the old ones removed, new ones in. On the way back to the house, let's go. Oh yeah, I gotta give a shout out to my neighbor. Listen, my daughter had my truck. He let me borrow his car so we could get these cam bearings done. Man, and he helped me load the block in, so that's what's up. Appreciate it, brother. So now that we got the block back, gotta go ahead and get this thing out the car. Now, I didn't have the help that I had to get it loaded. And this is an iron block, guys, so don't play around. This thing is extremely heavy. So what's the first thing we're gonna do? We're gonna put it on the engine lift and get it on the ground. Once I get the other motor broke down, then we'll get this one on the engine stand, the other one on the ground, and then start putting it back together. My phone died during the process of removing the internals from the old aluminum block. Both blocks on the ground, still got to pull the crank out of the old aluminum one. But I got it all done, so this is what we're gonna finish up with today. And then from there, tomorrow we'll start a new day getting all the internals put into the iron block and hopefully get the iron bar completely back together and ready to rock. Good morning. All right, so it's time to go ahead and get this thing rocking. You know what? I'm kind of expecting some gains on this cam. It's been sitting on the shelf. Hopefully it'll do what I want it to do. We'll see. Anyways, we're going to get this thing lubed up really good as we're going to get the cam installed. As you can see, the old man's already. Once we get the cam installed, then we'll start to focus on getting the crank bearings in. On the engine side, yes, I am a King's bearing guy, so that's what I prefer. And every build I've used them, and let me tell you, they work out really well. Just make sure, do not lube underneath, right? Because then that's how you get a spun bearing. You want to get them things pressed in there nice and tight, and then the lube is just where the crank sits. Also, food for thought, make sure you do not spin the crank. You want to get a little bit of lube, then you want to get your crank in, and then you want to put your main caps on, torque it down. At that point, then you can spin the crank. Before then, though, don't spin the crank. Some of you guys may say that's old wives' tale, but hey, guess what? Not to me. So I'm going to follow what I've always known. Trial and error, baby. We're not going to spin that crank until we get it rocking and rolling. Okay, so the crank is torqued down, so we'll get ready to move on to the next piece, but not before breakfast. So after the wife cooked the old man and I a lovely breakfast, our bellies are full. Now we can focus and get back to work. Up next, let's drop these pistons in. Pistons are all in. Windage tray, oil pump, oil pickup tube, oil pan, get it all locked down. and then we're gonna drop some lifters in. Make sure you lube up the lifters real good, okay, guys? Don't play around with these lifters. You don't want that lifter tick. Also, the trays should go in fairly smooth. If you're having trouble dropping them in, then I suggest you pull them back out before you just try shoving them deep down in there. It's not a good look. You'll tear all kinds of stuff up. Once again, speaking from experience. After that, we get these gaskets locked on. I'm not gonna do the whole Permatex spray on. Listen, it says don't spray. I'm not spraying. I install them how they come. I've never had an issue with them, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Make sure you have the right side facing up. Then let's get some heads locked on. Remember, you got to torque your heads from inside out. But if you don't know how to do it, you can always find this information online. There's a ton of forums, ton of websites on how to torque heads, but make sure you follow that sequence. Very important, especially with locking down a new head gasket. Rockers on, push rods in, intake installed. At this point, we're just going to button everything down, get it all tightened up. All right, y'all, so Uncle T brought back the transmission after we were able to get it all apart. Went through it. You know what? The internal survived all that busting up. I mean, I don't know how the hell it did, but it did. And this belt housing is an ox, man. Let me tell you. Definitely would recommend having a JW belt housing. Now, here's the old case. It got a little messed up. Like I said, kind of looked like an earthquake hit that sucker and cracked it up. All right, enough with the transmission. Let's get it bolted onto the LS and let's see, get this thing dropped in. Like, subscribe, follow. Thanks for watching No Shame Nova. Stay tuned for part 3 of the startup.